Success. And today we're going to be talking to Aoife. Really interesting conversation around our insides. You know, we always talk about this, our subconscious, and what happens when we're able to really get to the root of what's going on with us, how it boosts our confidence, how it changes our business, our relationships. You know, those of you who have gone through Mood Makeover, we talk about this a lot. And I love Aoife's take on this. And I think it's really going to be helpful for anybody that's kind of still struggling to get to the root and to kind of hear her story and see some things that we can do about this. So for those of you who haven't met me yet, my name is Renee Hughes. I'm the owner and founder of the Aromaspecialists. And what we do is we train aromatherapists and holistic practitioners to stabilize and advance their business, particularly with captivating speaking. And part of that speaking technique comes from what's happening on the inside. And that's what Aoife's going to talk to us about today. Welcome, Aoife.
Oh my God, thank you so much. I was totally captivated by everything you were sharing.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to talk to you. My team and I have been following you for a little bit. Aoife and I met, we have the same coach. And so we met on Own Your Stage. And she just got our attention, and we're really excited to bring her on to talk to you all. So Aoife, the first thing I want to ask you is, well, first tell us about your business. What is it that you do? And you have an event that's coming up we're going to be telling them about, but can you tell us a little bit about what it is that you do?
Yes, so I am a transformational health coach for highly sensitive women. So it's not a fitness coach, it's not a diet program, it is transformational health. So I teach through self-healing. So I teach women who have anxiety, depression, chronic pain, chronic illness, these conditions that they've been told are incurable, gotta live with forever. And they've been trying also so many ways to heal themselves and not made any progress. So I teach these women how to use the mind-body connection, self-healing tools to heal themselves and transform these conditions, which in turn have a ripple effect like you shared, and your relationships transform, your business transforms, your finances, everything else. So yeah.
Yeah, it's great. And so she's going to be training us on this in 2 days, you guys. So you're going to be getting this. Normally when we record these, you get it later. We're dropping this today because you got to sign up today. It's in 2 days she's going to be training this, and it's actually a free class. So that's something that you really want to take a look at. Can you tell us the name of the class that you're teaching on Wednesday?
Yeah, so it is Upgrade Your Health so that you can dance your way into 2023.
I love that so much. Remember the happy dance? So those of you who used to do Mood Makeover with me, or who still do Mood Makeover, we have a happy dance section. So you're going to be right at home with this. It's so exciting to have someone talking to us on this subject. All right, so before we get into what you want to tell us about today, I want to ask you about your confidence. Like, what gave you the confidence to start your business?
So this is kind of twofold, to be honest. One part of that is that I was trying really hard to find a profession that suited me as a highly sensitive, empathic, like spiritual or whatever kind of being. I felt like that I was finding it hard to find a profession that suited me. And so I was studying lots of different things, and I was trying lots of different jobs, and nothing seemed to work out for me. As well as that, I had chronic pain and chronic illness. So I got to a point where I got fired from a cafe that I was working in. And before that, I had qualified in law school. So I had ditched the law certificates, and I had got a job in a cafe, which I got fired from. And I was like, I'm done trying. I've always wanted to have my own business. I knew deep down that is what I always wanted to do, but I was fighting it, right? I think I often see this with my clients, like it's not a revelation to them when they get out of their own way and they discover their purpose. It's not like they're so surprised. They're like, I knew this. I always knew this. It's always been burning in my soul. So it was kind of like surrendering, like, fine, I give up trying. And then there was also just the passion was then lit in me as well. Once I got out of my own way, all those so yeah, the passion was really in me, and the passion was in me because it was part of my own journey, that the pain and suffering that I had gone through with my illness, to share the way out of that, to share new solutions. So it was really that passion as well that gave me the energy. I can't say it was like confidence, because I was crapping myself. Like when I first started like posting online, didn't sleep with fear. And I have a client like who was saying to me, how did you get the confidence? I'm like, I didn't, like, I just did it.
I love that. I love that you said that. And this is something that you all will start to hear this pattern. I'm already hearing it as we're recording these shows. So many successful people just do it. It's not about, okay, I'm in this perfect place. I feel this perfect thing. I am inspired to the point where I can't keep my mouth closed, so I'm going to jump out and do it. We just do it anyway. Even when you don't feel like it, even when you're scared, you just do it. So I really, really appreciate you sharing that, because that's something that I love to emphasize, to just start doing it. But now she's going to talk to us about how we can make that a little bit easier by addressing some of the under layers. For example, this is what I really wanted to talk about today. There's so much we could talk to you about. So make sure you join the training so that you can get this. But what I want to talk about is sometimes our stress presents with, I can't eat anything. I can't eat this. Everything makes me sick. I'm exhausted. Can you talk to us a little bit about that and what's causing that?
Yes, absolutely. So when I was sick as a child, I used to get these unexplained fevers. So my body would run a really high fever. There was never any conclusion or reason for this. I had aches and pains through my body, candida, all kinds of things happening. But one of those things was stomach problems. I would always say, mommy, sore tummy, right? And so naturally, you would think, well, what's going in your stomach? What's going in that's making it sore? So my parents were very open. They were doctors and also hippies. So they were bringing me to all kinds of people. And some of those people suggested elimination diets, like maybe it's wheat. One person said she has candida, so she's getting drunk on sugar and it's feeding all the candida. So from a very early age, that those two things were put together. Stomach pain, food, let's take things out of the diet, right? So I always had that understanding. And then when I was in my mid-20s and I quit drugs and alcohol, and I started to, like, I want to feel better. I went on a mission to feel better. And the first place I went to was food. Like, I was like, no. Or like, what can I cut out to like, yeah. So I was like raw vegan, no sugar, like no bad oils, just went like full on into this. And someone told me again, you have candida. So I was like, oh no, what? I was excited. I have candida. So I do 6 months candida diet. And in 6 months time, I'm going to be like healed, cured of 25 years. And I can't wait. Excited. I'm all in. So 6 years later, I am not only am I sicker and worse off, but I am terrified of food. I am terrified of gluten. I am terrified of sugar. I am terrified of bad oils. And they are—
It completely ruins your relationship with food. Yes.
Absolutely. And I was getting real reactions, right? Like,
oh yeah.
the neural pathways had developed. I had been telling my brain these foods are dangerous, and my brain's like, got the memo. And now if you eat it, we're gonna like
react accordingly.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's like doing a good job here.
Yeah.
So it was a really dark place. I had been living like a monk for 6 years, you know, on this healthy diet and healthy living, and I had fibromyalgia, chronic pain, allergic to everything, a million triggers, depression, anxiety, bladder syndrome, IBS, like so many things, insomnia, and I had been to like psychiatrists, psychologists, and you know, I just done everything. It was just a really dark place to be, really alone, and feeling like, also, I had no money then. I was unable to work, right? I was on disability benefits. I was 30, living in my parents' spare room. Like, it was not a great place to be.
So what finally turned the corner for you? When did you realize, okay, I've got to go deeper?
Yeah, so when people said to me, like, maybe you're stressed, that really, really triggered me, because I was like meditating and done all the more psychological work than like anyone else I knew. But one day, a friend of mine sent me a video on the mind-body connection. And of course, my first reaction was like, I know everything, like I've done everything, don't want to know. But something in me always was so determined, and I clicked the link. I watched this like 3-minute video on pain science, and it was on like phantom leg pain, and it was how war veterans who were missing, there's someone who was missing a leg, could still feel pain in that leg that wasn't there, and how and in that moment, my whole entire life, everything, because I was able to apply it to more than just pain. Like I really understood in a big way what was being said. And honestly, I rang a friend and I was just like, this is it. This is all changed for me.
That's incredible. And so now you teach other people how to make that connection so they can start recovering, really recovering.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a while then. Like in 2 weeks, I healed my whole IBS, all of my allergies. I walked to the shop, I ate ice cream. I sat outside in my local shop eating Mars ice creams and bread, all these things I had denied myself for so long.
Right. And all the bad stuff.
Bad food, exactly, like Mars ice cream, the white bread, you know, and I was just celebrating. I was like, oh my God, I'm free. And then it was a journey also, because there was just things, there was change ahead. So now I work as a guide. Essentially, I teach these women these tools so they heal themselves, and I'm literally just a guide who's like, yes, this, you know, to hold the container for them to do this themselves. And then you have that forever. Like when you understand the root, like you shared that real root of what's going on for you, then you can go see a doctor, go to whoever, and you're just not confused. You really, you know how to like use that wisdom to support yourself or get the help you need in any situation. But the confusion, the panic, the fear, the not knowing, like that's all gone.
Oh yeah. I can remember in 2013 when I started my health and wellness journey. I did it by producing a film, and the name of it was A Move Toward Health. And I remember telling the people who were helping me with the film, I was trying to explain to them what it felt like. And I said, I can remember, and this has still happened to me since, by the way, going into grocery stores, standing there in tears, because I didn't know what to eat. I didn't know what to go put in my shopping cart. I didn't know what was going to make me sick. Family history of cancer, sickle cell trait. So lots of things going on in the body. And my story sounds so much like yours. It's sick as a child, went to every doctor. They all told my parents there's nothing wrong with her. It must be in her head. But to them, that didn't mean anything. And years later, I realized, well, they were partially right. There was stress. And I remember my mom saying to me, "What are you stressed about? Like, why?" And I said, "I don't know. I don't feel stressed." But it's just not having that process of releasing in that process where you can absorb and deal with just life, even as a child, So it's life changing, and it's something that I can't wait to see. So you guys, I haven't taken Aoife's training, so it's something I'm going to take it too along with you. So check it out and see if it's for you. We don't have a lot of the details of what it is, but we understand the end result. And so I think it's something that you're familiar with. I think it's something that could be helpful. So we're all going to check it out together and see what it's all about. Your story is amazing. I really appreciate you sharing it with us and offering this training. So how long is your program? Once a person actually gets into your program, how long does that?
Yes. Yeah. So typically it is 6 months long.
Okay.
Yeah. So we really get that time to, so first, in the first couple of weeks, you can have really dramatic results, like me going to the shop after a couple of weeks, eating anything I wanted, right? But then what can happen is then it's like all this other change has to happen. So we really want to make sure you get strong, you get clear, you get really confident, so that you're not being swayed again in different directions. And so you have that full power. A woman I was talking to recently in the mind body world, she said, it's not like you take your power back. It's that you realize you always had this power and this strength. You just didn't know it.
Yeah. Understood. Yeah, it is. And I appreciate what you just said about the confusion, because many of us out there, like we've been, like you mentioned, we've been to traditional doctors, psychologists, therapists, naturopaths, herbalists, like we've been all around the mountain, and you get a different story from everyone. And I was telling, I always say this, when you go to school, so my first certification was as a natural health consultant. I was more disillusioned coming out of school than I was when I went in. I appreciate the things that I learned, and I appreciate learning about food and the body and anatomy and physiology and pathology. But you come away still kind of jaded and a little lost. And it's like, so what do we eat then? What's okay to eat in this, in this world that we're living in? And so it really is helpful when we can go further than just the food that we put into our mouths. And think about this, you guys. Has it been working? So you've done the elimination, you're watching the foods, and you're still having cravings, you're still having candida. That was such an interesting one that you said. Lots of you all out there, you have the candida, you've got a variety of gut bacteria, gut issues, food sensitivities, just crippling depression, things like that. And it's not uncommon anymore. And we understand it's the times we live in. Things have gotten more and more stressful. And some of us, like, we expect that. We know that this is where we are. But there are tools that can help us to pull up out of that and still function. So I don't know what Aoife's tools are, but we're going to find out on Wednesday. Go right ahead.
Yeah, let me give you a tiny little taster, because I was just doing this with clients and it's so fun. It's just like, so like the confusion you were talking about, I always tell clients that every single one of your symptoms is like, it's like a spinning loop, right? So one part of that loop is the symptom. And also in that loop is the story, the narrative you've been told by either doctor or a different person, it's incurable or whatever. Then you have the emotional impact, all the times that you weren't able to do things, and the worry then as well about the future. So that is all that energy is going into that loop, and it's keeping the symptom alive. And this applies to like depression, candida, IBS, so many symptoms, right? And you think that there has to be a different solution for each of them. So you're confused, right? You're like, how do I fix my depression? How do I fix my bladder, my constipation, my this, and you're like, you're so busy. Like, how can you do your business? How can you reach your purpose? How can you be confident? You are busy with these spinning loops, right? And so by learning, right? So Dr. Sarno is one of the doctors who I started to learn from, and he said he prescribed his patients knowledge therapy. So you have one aha moment at a time, and you start to deactivate those loops. You start to not fear it as much, and then the confusion drops. You start to get clearer, and all the while your nervous system is calming down. And then I love the way you talk about business, because once you're not so busy with all those loops, like you've got time on your hands, then you got like energy back to do the things you love. So yeah.
Yeah, and the ability to perform. So, you know, we talk about this all the time, that getting into that, and because you're talking about, we talk a lot about the fight and flight system, fight, flight, or freeze. And we understand that that freeze is a real issue in life in general, but certainly in business, because it takes some consistency to get to where we're trying to go. But when you're constantly in freeze mode, because your central nervous system is out of whack, then it's definitely going to affect your business, because you can't do it haphazardly. You can't do it 1 week and take off a month and then go and do a week of lives and your business is up and running. It's just not how it works. So this is going to have a profound effect just in life, because we just need this in life in general. Your relationships, it affects everything. But because we talk a lot about business on this channel, that's another thing to keep in mind. So thank you so much, Aoife. We could talk to you for a good while. I always say that because these conversations are quick of purpose, because we have to digest things a little bit at a time. But come on Wednesday, get the training, make your decision. But either way, we really appreciate your time. Is there anything else you want to leave us with before we close out?
No, it's just, this is so fun. I've loved connecting with you in this way. And yeah, I look forward to more chats. And just anyone out there who's listening, who feels like they're up shit creek, as some of my clients say, and you feel like there's no way out, there really is. There's so many tools, and it's just about finding the person who really resonates with you, and then just jump right in. Like, don't sit around and say like, oh, will this work for me? The only way you ever know if something will work for you is you jump in and try it.
See what it is, and then try it. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, and I'll see you Wednesday.
Cool. Thank you so much, Renee. Bye.